Ange, and welcome to Starlight Wellness. Thank you for tuning in to my station. And on today's video, we're going to be going over the supermoon in Gemini that we have happening today. I'm filming it May 25th, 2017. And so I have my chart behind me of the main planetary transits that are happening for this particular moon cycle. And there's a lot of very interesting, awesome, and enlightening information that's coming through for the supermoon. So let's get into the astrology. So I have here written at the top, Star of Ascension. And there is definitely a theme of enlightenment, ascension, and illumination happening for this supermoon. So this is the closest moon to the Earth for the whole year. And that's why it's called a supermoon. And it's in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the planet of Mercury. So it rules our communication, how we're speaking. It's also ruled by being joyful and being creative and curious about life and continuously learning about life and communicating and sharing ideas. And so it's at 4 degrees in Gemini. So we have this theme already happening for this full moon to have increased communication, increased sharing of information. And there's a star that's highlighted at this moon. And this star is why I called the video the Star of Ascension. It's called, in Vedic astrology, it's called Rohini, or it's called Aldebaran. And I'm going to go over some definitions why this star in particular is so important for this supermoon, which is very exciting. And then we have the sun in Gemini as well since May 20th, and it's at 4 degrees for the full moon, for the new moon. And Mercury and Venus are in Taurus. Well, Mercury's in Taurus, and Venus on June 6th will enter into Taurus, its ruling planet. So that's a really important aspect as well, because that's going to bring a lot of grounding over communication, because Taurus is an earth sign and it wants to ground things, and it also wants to make it prosperous. So it wants to bring us the abundance through our communication activities. And when it's going to move into Venus on June 6th, throughout this moon cycle, we're going to see an exaltation almost of this Taurus energy. And because it's going to be moving into its ruling planet. And so when Taurus is in Venus, it's going to really exalt our financial life, our ability to create abundance, how we create abundance. Gemini, which is about our mental activity and sharing and communication, it's about reevaluating how we think about how we create money. So it's going to be a very healing aspect in that regard. Another very positive aspect during this transit is the fire trine that has been ongoing throughout May, and it will last until the end of the new moon cycle in June. And the fire trine is with Saturn, Uranus, and the North Node. So it's a very positive trine where we have kind of like a boost of energy, like that fiery energy, that passion that's going to drive us to creating that abundance that the Taurus energy is trying to ground for us at this time. Finally, there's also a yod aspect that's happening during this new moon, this new supermoon in Gemini, which I'll get into when I get into the definitions about the stars. But it's relative because on June 9th, there is going to be a full moon at 18 degrees in Sagittarius. And that's the same day that Jupiter is going to go direct, and it's in Libra. And Libra as well is ruled by Venus. It's ruled by the planet that rules love and money. So it's going to be moving forward. So we're going to see a lot of more positive aspects happening because we now have the sign of balance of Libra in Jupiter, which rules abundance and abundance in thought and abundance in our life moving forward. So that's a very, very positive aspect. Now, going back to the Rohini or Aldebaran star, this is also a very, very interesting supermoon star that is happening this year. I don't think we're going to get an opportunity this year to have a better chance and better luck on our side to create whatever it is we want to create at this time. So if there's any changes, if there are people, places, or things that we need to eliminate from our life, it's time to do so, because the chances are that you will be very successful with the outcome later on. And I'm going to bring out my trusty star map here and show you where this star is. It's in the Taurus constellation, and it's the brightest star in Taurus. So I don't know if you can see that there. And it's what's really important about this particular star is that it's close to the Pleiades star system, and it's also in Taurus. So again, we have the theme of Taurus, and this is called the Eye of the Bull. It's also the brightest star in the constellation of Taurus. And so I thought it would be really good to go into depth of what this star means. This star is also called Rohini, or is called Aldebaran. So I went online and I did some research about the particular star, and I wanted to read to you what the star means, because it really provides us clear, unwavering information about what the supermoon is really bringing up for us at this time and for this moon cycle, and why it's so important for this year, or one of the moons that is one of the most important. So Aldebaran, from www.souledout.org, I'll be putting the links below, is the brightest star in the constellation of Taurus, the bull. Its name comes from the Arabic Aldebaran, the follower, because Aldebaran appears to follow the Pleiades through the night sky. Now this is really important. It's called the follower, and it's being led by the Pleiades star system. And I'm just going to go on. As the Eye of the Bull, Aldebaran is also called the Eye of Revelation. It is referred to by astronomers and cosmologists as the Eastern Royal Star, one of the 4 royal stars considered the sentinel watching over the stars. Now, if you go into Christian belief, because it's being called the Eye of Revelation, and that's a very biblical term. So if you go into Christian belief, we now have this star that I showed you on the map that is one of the 4 royal stars watching over the other stars, which is also symbolic of the archangels. This is not what the article says, but it's also symbolic of God's archangels. So that's, you know, which are the stars that are watching the other stars. It's also known as the Buddha star, the star of illumination, and God's eye. Now keep in mind the word God's eye, because I'm going to be getting into that a little bit later. So Taurus is often associated with royalty and divine power. Throughout the ages, Aldebaran has been spiritually recognized for its alignment with divinity. There is a symbolic relation between Aldebaran and the eye of the bull, or the third eye, or the light in the head, or the diamond, which is our third eye, our pineal gland, our eye to psychic vision, our eye to the cosmos, our intuition. He goes on to say that the consciousness of Buddha has also been called the diamond eye. So there's this very specific term that this royal star, this Aldebaran star in the constellation of Taurus, is bringing up the theme of the third eye, which is God's eye. And I'm just going to stop there, but just keep that in mind. And it goes on to say, in the sign of Taurus, when desire is transmuted into aspiration, darkness gives place to light and illumination. The eye of the bull, the spiritual third eye, or the single eye of the New Testament is opened. And here's a beautiful quote that he adds from the Bible, and that was said by Christ. And Christ says in Matthew 6:22, "If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." What a beautiful theme. So here we have Christ, an ascended being from the stars or the higher dimensions, is telling us clearly that our third eye is the gateway to cosmic or unity consciousness. And he goes on to say, the single eye takes the place of the 2 eyes of the person's self. As the attention of humanity becomes focused upon spiritual attainment, we thread the way for revelation. As the star of illumination, Aldebaran irradiates the way using the applied power of transformation. In seeking illumination, we can cultivate the ability to use the mind as a reflector of soul light. An increased understanding about the process of revelation may help us comprehend the quality and significance of Aldebaran. So he basically gives us exactly what the astrology and stars and the planetary transits are telling us right now. Gemini, the ruler of the mind and our thoughts, is pinpointing to our third eye, our psychic vision, our ability to focus on spiritual attainment and focus on our intuitive guidance, and our ability to create ourselves as enlightened beings, to embody the Christ light. And so the mind of the Gemini and the Taurus of our physical nature is now bringing that into like a merge with this combination that's happening. So our bodies are being enlightened with this information. And then it goes on to say, you know, that in so doing, when we start doing that, when humanity follows that path, it will be guided to things to be revealed. And what I found so fascinating is that literally just yesterday, I was driving home and I saw this sign right outside that just popped out at me at some small church, or I don't know, Baptist something. I don't know what religion it was, but it had such significant, pardon me, it had such significant relationship to what this supermoon is trying to bring into the light. And it said, time reveals truth. And I just sat with that and I was like, wow, that just says so much. And now reading the importance and the significance and the symbology of the Aldebaran star and the third light and the enlightenment of ourselves, from that quote by Christ in Matthew 6:22, it says, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. This single eye takes place in the two eyes of the personal self. As the attention of humanity becomes focused upon spiritual attainment, we thread the way of revelation. So yes, time reveals, revelation reveals truth, reveals the light. With time, new truths are revealed, right? And so there is no coincidence that I saw that sign yesterday and wanted to include that in today's update for the astrology. Now there's another very particular story that I just loved as well, because in Vedic astrology, this star is called Rohini. And this one astrologer, I'll put the link to her website below, at www.anandaastrology.com, she calls it the star of ascension. So the star of ascension, like I write here, the star of illumination. It says, and she writes, the Rohini, the star of ascension, gives us the power to rise above the past and grow stronger and more fulfilled than ever before. In Vedic astrology, the new moon, which is the new moon in Gemini, falls in the area of the sky known as Rohini. Rohini gives joy through Rohana Shakti, the power of fertility and growth. Rohini moon connects us to the joy and bliss of the moment and allows the juice of new life and love to flow again. In India, this new moon is celebrated at Vat Savitri, pardon for my translation, a day when a woman fasts for the health of their husbands and remember Savitri, the radiant princess of light. Savitri, the beautiful daughter of the rising sun. She had immense spiritual power that she achieved through great focus and determination. After the death of her young husband, Savitri confronted Yama, the Lord of Death, and demanded that he release him. Yama, impressed by her great courage and austerity, granted her the power to bend the inflexible law of death and bring her husband back to the world of living. And the article goes on to say, Savitri's stand against death represents the inevitable cycle of love and loss and the miracle of rebirth that is offered within it. This new moon cycle takes us from the tomb of endings to the womb of beginnings. Take time now to remember what you have lost in life and what is arisen from the ashes of the past. So we have obviously this rebirthing new moon energy. New moons are all about new beginnings and closing endings. So we just had an intense full moon, which is about releasing, and it was in Scorpio, and Scorpio represents death, releasing the old past into the new for the new beginnings in the new moon in Gemini, and it's a super moon. So it just has so much power during this time. This new moon, I definitely recommend to anyone who wants to open their third eye. I had some followers, some divine masculines, asking, how do you open your third eye? Sorry for the interruption. So as I was saying, the link from soldout.org has an excellent meditation for anyone who wants to open their third eye. At the end of the article, it has a meditation for visualizing a triangle and bringing down cosmic light into your body through your third eye chakra. So I do recommend that for anyone looking for this enlightened golden ascension meditation. And otherwise, you know, this Gemini supermoon is 1 in a million for us to fully embrace and balance our love and finances, because again, Taurus is a sign of wealth, prosperity, creating wealth and prosperity in our lives. Gemini is curious about different ideas, trying to be creative in how we can accomplish this abundance. So, and it's at 4 degrees, and 4 is all about stability, numerologically speaking. And the sun in Gemini is also at 4 degrees. So 4 is about structure, which is represented by the Taurus energy coming through. Well, sorry for that. And so we're definitely going to see this money versus love theme come up because of the Venus energy. And because Gemini is ruled by the twins, so it's also ruled of our relationships or partnerships, specifically romantic ones. So there's going to be this healing occurring to balance truly, finally, what we love to do, and so that our love lives can be reflective of that, and so that we can also tune in to the source light, to our intuition, to guide us on how to create that in our lives. And the fire trine, which is just giving us a robust boost in making our passions come to life. And there's definitely some more difficult aspects. We have Venus, which will square Pluto during this new moon. And it's how we feel empowered or disempowered. What makes us feel which one of those emotions. And the Yod, which I write down here with the fire trine, is also called the finger of God. And during this new moon, it's got Mercury, Neptune pointing towards Jupiter. And so that's why I put it at the bottom here, because the Yod, the finger of God, is pointing to Jupiter. So it's pointing to the fact that Jupiter is going to be moving direct in 2 weeks by the full moon. And so whatever it is that we want to create in our lives, we're definitely being inspired and intuitively guided by higher source of creation light or God or creator. And it's to do so with a very open mind, which is Gemini-like, very curious mind, which is inclusive and curious about life. And so we have this really amazing energy coming through for this new moon in Gemini. Some luck, some challenges, but overall, it definitely is going to push us to communicate whatever it is that we want to create in our lives, and to be leaders of that in whatever regard that we are leaders, whether it's in our family lives or our professional lives or in our relationship. It's definitely going to create these new beginnings and this new spark for a lot of people. So I really hope that helps anyone on their journey. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. I'm always open to hearing more insights and perspectives about these moon cycles. And in addition, as always, I am going to do the StarChild Tarot reading at the end of this video. So if you're interested in the reading, stay tuned for that. And I wish you a lot of love and blessings. And I hope this astrological update gave you some insights and inspiration and any more access to your intuitive powers of your own third eye. So take care and much love. Ciao.